"That I believe," answered M. Morel, "but still he is charged." "With what?" inquired the elder Dantes. "With being an agent of the Bonapartist faction." Many of our readers may be able to recollect how formidable such an accusation became in the period at which our story is dated. A despairing cry escaped the pale lips of Mercedes. The old man sank into a chair. "Ah, Danglars," whispered Caderousse, "you have deceived me. The trick you spoke of last night has been played, but I cannot suffer a poor old man or an innocent girl to die of grief through your fault. I am determined to tell them all about it." "Be silent, you simpleton!" cried Danglars, grasping him by the arm, "or I will not answer even for your own safety." Who can tell whether Dantes be innocent or guilty? The vessel did touch at Elba, where he quitted it, and passed a whole day in the island. Now, should any letters or other documents of a compromising character be found upon him, will it not be taken for granted that all who uphold him are his accomplices? With the rapid instinct of selfishness, Caderousse readily perceived the solidity of this mode of reasoning. He gazed, doubtfully, wistfully, on Danglars, and then caution supplanted generosity. "Suppose we wait a while, and see what comes of it," said he, casting a bewildered look on his companion. "To be sure," answered Danglars. "Let us wait, by all means. If he be innocent, of course he will be set at liberty; if guilty, why, it is no use involving ourselves in a conspiracy." "Let us go, then. I cannot stay here any longer." "With all my heart," replied Danglars, pleased to find the other so tractable. "Let us take ourselves out of the way, and leave things for the present to take their course." After their departure, Fernand, who had now again become the friend and protector of Mercedes, led the girl to her home, while the friends of Dantes conducted the now half-fainting man back to his abode. The rumor of Edmond's arrest as a Bonapartist agent was not slow in circulating throughout the city. "Could you ever have credited such a thing, my dear Danglars?" asked M. Morel, as, on his return to the port for the purpose of gleaning fresh tidings of Dantes, from M. de Villefort, the assistant procureur, He overtook his supercargo in Catarus. Could you have believed such a thing possible? Why, you know I told you, replied Danglars, that I considered the circumstance of his having anchored at the island of Elba as a very suspicious circumstance. And did you mention these suspicions to any person beside myself? Certainly not, returned Danglars. Then added in a low whisper, you understand that, on account of your uncle, M. Policar Morel, who served under the other government, and who does not altogether conceal what he thinks on the subject, you are strongly suspected of regretting the abdication of Napoleon. I should have feared to injure both Edmund and yourself, had I divulged my own apprehensions to a soul. I am too well aware that though a subordinate, like myself, is bound to acquaint the ship owner with everything that occurs, there are many things he ought most carefully to conceal from all else. "'Tis well, Danglars, 'tis well," replied M. Morel. "You are a worthy fellow, and I had already thought of your interests in the event of poor Edmund having become captain of the Pharaon." "Is it possible you were so kind?" "Yes, indeed, I had previously inquired of Dantes what was his opinion of you, and if he should have any reluctance to continue you in your post, for somehow I have perceived a sort of coolness between you." "And what was his reply?" "That he certainly did think he had given you offense in an affair which he merely referred to without entering into particulars, but that whoever possessed the good opinion and confidence of the ship's owner would have his preference also." "The hypocrite!" murmured Danglars. "Poor Dantes!" said Catarus. "No one can deny his being a noble-hearted young fellow." "But meanwhile," continued M. Morel, "here is the Pharaon without a captain." "Oh," replied Danglars, "since we cannot leave this port for the next 3 months, let us hope that ere the expiration of that period Dantes will be set at liberty." "No doubt, but in the meantime?" "I am entirely at your service, M. Morel," answered Danglars. "You know that I am as capable of managing a ship as the most experienced captain in the service, and it will be so far advantageous to you to accept my services, that upon Edmund's release from prison no further change will be requisite on board the Pharaon than for Dantes and myself each to resume our respective posts." Thanks, Danglars. That will smooth over all difficulties. I fully authorize you at once to assume the command of the Pharaon, and look carefully to the unloading of her freight. Private misfortunes must never be allowed to interfere with business. Be easy on that score, M. Morel, but do you think we shall be permitted to see our poor Edmond? I will let you know that directly I have seen M. de Villefort, whom I shall endeavor to interest in Edmond's favor. I am aware he is a furious royalist, but, in spite of that, and of his being king's attorney, he is a man like ourselves, and I fancy not a bad sort of one. Perhaps not, replied Danglars, but I hear that he is ambitious, and that's rather against him. Well, well, returned M. Morel, we shall see. But now hasten on board, I will join you there ere long. So saying, the worthy shipowner quitted the two allies, and proceeded in the direction of the Palais de Justice. You see, said Danglars, addressing Caderousse, the turn things have taken. Do you still feel any desire to stand up in his defense? Not the slightest, but yet it seems to me a shocking thing that a mere joke should lead to such consequences. But who perpetrated that joke, let me ask? Neither you nor myself, but Fernand, you knew very well that I threw the paper into a corner of the room, indeed, I fancied I had destroyed it. Oh, no, replied Caderousse, that I can answer for, you did not. I only wish I could see it now as plainly as I saw it lying all crushed and crumpled in a corner of the arbor. Well, then, if you did, depend upon it, Fernand picked it up, and either copied it or caused it to be copied, perhaps, even, he did not take the trouble of recopying it. And now I think of it, by heavens, he may have sent the letter itself. Fortunately, for me, the handwriting was disguised. Then you were aware of Dante's being engaged in a conspiracy? Not I. As I before said, I thought the whole thing was a joke, nothing more. It seems, however, that I have unconsciously stumbled upon the truth. Still, argued Caderousse, I would give a great deal if nothing of the kind had happened, or, at least, that I had had no hand in it. You will see, Danglars, that it will turn out an unlucky job for both of us. Nonsense. If any harm come of it, it should fall on the guilty person, and that, you know, is Fernand. How can we be implicated in any way? All we have got to do is, to keep our own counsel, and remain perfectly quiet, not breathing a word to any living soul, and you will see that the storm will pass away without in the least affecting us. Amen. Responded Caderousse, waving his hand in token of adieu to Danglars, and bending his steps towards the Allées de Meilhan, moving his head to and fro, and muttering as he went, after the manner of one whose mind was overcharged with one absorbing idea. So far, then, said Danglars, mentally, all has gone as I would have it. I am, temporarily, commander of the Pharaon, with the certainty of being permanently so, if that fool of a Caderousse can be persuaded to hold his tongue. My only fear is the chance of Dante's being released. But, there, he is in the hands of justice, and, added he with a smile, she will take her own.